All right, guys, this is the science assignment for Friday, February the 5th. We're going to be doing two separate things today, but before we get started, I'm just going to remind you I don't have my camera on. Again, today I'm recording this on Thursday. My right side of my face is still really swollen from the dental procedure that took hours on Wednesday evening. It still hurts. It isn't numb anymore, so I can talk clearly again, but it's still just painful and swollen, so I'm going to keep the camera off for today. Hopefully tomorrow when I record videos, it'll be back down to size and be more manageable and I can turn the camera on. So this sheet is what we're starting with today, and then we're going to move into a passage called All About Blood, but that'll be on a slideshow for you. For those of you who were not in school on Tuesday, you have a sheet too. It's with your NC Ready book, your Science Coach book, anything that you had at school that you needed to retrieve for your virtual days. This was with that stuff, so you should have it. If you haven't picked it up yet, it's at the Board of Education, and you need to pick up not only this paper, but your NC Ready book and your Science Coach book and your math books, the things that you need to complete our work until we get back to face-to-face. Now, the first thing we're going to do with this sheet, I've got so many, it's crazy, is we're going to separate this sheet from the sheet below it. And the easiest way to do that is to cut, since this is only two sheets, we are going to cut away the staple. And that'll separate the two sheets. And then you can trim along the white edges. Y'all see how cool these scissors cut in like a design, so it makes it wavy. So trim away the white and paste it in your science notebook. I'm going to go ahead and move forward, so if you're cutting and pasting and you need to pause the video, that is fine. And once you're ready, just hit play again. All right, this is the one I actually wanted to use. So I shaded in a little bit here. I didn't want to color the whole thing, but I have blue and red, and remember, red represents oxygenated blood being pumped out of the heart to the rest of the body, and blue represents those veins that are bringing back deoxygenated blood back to the heart, so the heart can pump that blood to the lungs, get the oxygen again, return it back to the heart, so the heart can pump that oxygenated blood out to the rest of the body. Sorry, I had to pause it there for a minute because I couldn't find my pen, and I never did find the pens, and I had to find another pen altogether. So that's crazy. All right, we're moving on today to our circulatory system notes. We have been talking about the circulatory system all week, and we spent most of the week so far just talking about the heart and the blood vessels and the idea of blood being pumped from the heart and whether it's oxygenated or deoxygenated, the chambers of the heart, how the respiratory and circulatory system work together, those things. And this is going to kind of review all of that for us. Excuse me. All right, parts. They didn't give us a lot of space to write here. But parts of the circulatory system, obviously the first thing that comes to my mind is the heart. That's a big, crucial part of the circulatory system. Blood. That is the substance that's being circulated throughout the body. The blood contains our red blood cells, it contains water, it contains plasma, it contains our oxygen that we need, the cells need, and it also contains carbon dioxide waste that the cells produce that we send back to the heart so it can be pumped to the lungs and we can breathe it out. Also contains nutrients. It contains a lot of stuff. All right. Circulatory system contains blood vessels, which we could think of as tubes or pipes. These things here that are transporting, carrying blood to the destinations that the blood needs to go to. We can divide blood vessels into two really big categories. We have arteries Arteries carry blood away from the heart. A for artery, A for away. We have veins. Veins carry deoxygenated blood back to the heart, so the heart can send it to the lungs, so the blood can get oxygen again. And then we're going to just mention capillaries. Capillaries are tiny, you can kind of see them right here. So that when these larger blood vessels here get to further and further away from the heart to these tiny little places where the cells are engaging in that gas exchange, where they're picking up oxygen from the blood and giving away the carbon dioxide waste back to the blood, that is happening in the capillaries, these tiny little branches that branch off from these larger blood vessels. All right, let's talk about the heart. The heart is a fist-size muscle. So if you make a fist, that's about the size of your heart. As a muscle, it can contract and tighten up. So that allows it to pump blood throughout the body. We've also learned that the heart has 4 chambers: the left atrium, the left ventricle, the right atrium, the right ventricle. We talked in great deal about that the right side of the heart contains deoxygenated blood, the left side contains oxygenated blood. We talked about where the right ventricle is pumping the blood to and where the left ventricle is pumping the blood to. All right, let's move over to arteries. Arteries are tubes that carry blood away from the heart. A for artery, A for away. Capillaries. Like I mentioned before, you can see those guys right here. They're smaller branches of tiny tubes, these tiny blood vessels, that pass on oxygen to the cells. Remember, I mentioned that they are the site where that gas exchange takes place. The cells take the oxygen they want so desperately so they can do their jobs and stay alive, and they give off that carbon dioxide waste that the cells have produced as a result of doing the work that it's doing. And that takes place in the capillaries. Veins. These are tubes that drain back to the heart. So they're the blood vessels that are always denoted in blue because they're deoxygenated. The cells have gotten their oxygen and they've given off that carbon dioxide back into the blood. And so the veins are carrying that deoxygenated blood back to the heart. Keep it healthy. I think we probably know already what we're going to write here, right? Because number 1, always exercise. Doing 30 minutes of physical activity a day keeps your heart healthy. Eat healthy foods. Now that I'm in my 30s, it's becoming a priority to eat healthy foods. And once you get into your 30s and then your 40s, it will also be a priority too. Because your heart, when you eat unhealthy foods, it builds up with things like cholesterol and things that can clog arteries and damage the heart. And so if you have a lifetime of eating unhealthy, you start to pay the price for it as you get older. All right, and another obvious one, refrain from smoking. Smoking damages the heart and blood vessels. And damaging the heart and blood vessels is bad news for your entire body and for you, because it's going to affect that oxygen delivery to the cells. And when they start suffering and dying, well, that kind of translates into you suffering and possibly dying. Also, needless to say, smoking affects the lungs. So it's not just the circulatory system that suffers from smoking. All right, functions of the circulatory system. Blood moving from the heart delivers oxygen and nutrients to the cells. So blood moving from the heart, going away from the heart. So that's going out an artery. It's oxygenated, full of oxygen, as well as nutrients. They pick those nutrients up from the digestive tract. We'll talk more about that later. And it goes to the cells so that the cells can get the things they need. Blood moving to the heart, returning to the heart, picks up carbon dioxide. Remember, they got that carbon dioxide from the cells. At the same time the cells are getting their oxygen, the cells are giving off that carbon dioxide waste. The circulatory system helps the body fight off infections by sending white blood cells and antibodies. So you have two big categories of blood cells. You have red blood cells. You don't have to write this. And you have white blood cells. Okay, red blood cells are constantly circulating in your blood, going through the circulatory system all day long, every day, every moment of your life. White blood cells are part of the immune system, and we don't talk about that so much in 5th grade. Actually, we don't talk about it at all. But white blood cells are important for fighting off viruses, fighting off bacterial infections. Those guys show up in the bloodstream when the immune system is triggered by you've contracted a virus, you have a bacterial infection. So your immune system goes, whoa, I got to send my troops to go fight off that infection, and that's when the white blood cells show up on the scene. All right, the circulatory system helps regulate body temperature. Have y'all ever had this situation? This happens to me all the time. So you're laying in bed, and you can't decide whether you're hot or cold, right? And if you had the blanket completely covering you, you're hot. But if you take the blanket off, you're cold. And so you find this happy medium of sticking your right foot out and covering the rest of you. So it's like 3/4 of your body's covered with a blanket, but you got your legs sticking out. What's happening here is your circulatory system is regulating your body temperature. So when you stick that right foot out and that right foot is exposed to the air and it's cooling off that blood that's flowing through your right leg. And so that's helping you maintain unpleasant temperature in your body. That otherwise you'd be too hot if you were completely covered with the blanket, or too cold if you weren't covered at all. Circulation. Before each beat, the heart is filled with blood. The muscle, that cardiac muscle that makes up your heart, contracts. It contracts and forces blood to move out. It then moves through arteries as it's moving away from the heart, then down into these capillaries for that gas exchange, and veins as the blood's making its way back to the heart. Arteries and veins together are called blood vessels. The movement of blood through the heart and around your body is called circulation. Hence why this is called the circulatory system. Circulation takes less than a minute. Now Google tells me it takes 30 seconds. All right. So this should be complete, pasted in the notebook. And the next thing we're going to move on to is the passage called All About Blood. All right, this All About Blood assignment is in a Google slideshow. So if you don't already have this opened, have it open. You need to refer back to this when you're answering questions. I'm going to read it out loud for you. It's called All About Blood. It's got this cute little boy up there in the right-hand corner. And here we go. We have all seen blood when we have gotten a cut or scrape. We know blood is in our bodies, but what exactly is it? Blood is what the circulatory system uses to transport oxygen and nutrients to cells throughout the body. Blood keeps our bodies alive as it is continually pumped through the body by the heart. An adult body contains about 9 pints of blood, which is a little more than the amount of liquid in a gallon of milk. Blood is actually a thick tissue, mostly made of plasma and water. Plasma is the yellow fluid part of blood that holds blood cells. 2 main types of cells make up blood, white and red. White blood cells fight germs, illnesses, and infections in the body. Red blood cells deliver oxygen to the body. A healthy adult has about 35 trillion red blood cells, and they are continually being made in the marrow of our bones. Okay, so now we have a connection here to the skeletal system, right? We talked about how the skeletal system has bone marrow in our bones. And the purpose of this bone marrow is to make our red blood cells. So we have, again, 2 systems working together. Your skeletal system makes the red blood cells that are used by the circulatory system to deliver oxygen to the body. Red blood cells contain a protein called hemoglobin that gives blood a red color when mixed with oxygen. Platelets are also found in the blood. Platelets are blood cells that clump together to help clot your blood. Clotting helps stop blood from flowing out of the body when a vein or artery is broken. There are 4 main blood types: A, type B, type AB, and type O. Your blood type is determined from the genes passed down from your parents. So this would be an inherited trait. We talked about how we can have acquired traits and inherited traits. Well, this is programmed in your DNA. You inherited it from your parents. So if you don't know your blood type, that's a good thing to know. Ask your parents what they have. Ask them what you have. I'm a type O. O is the most common blood type. Blood is always being made in your body to replace small amounts of lost blood. If you lose a large amount of blood through a wound, more blood has to be put back in your body. This replacing of lost blood is called a blood transfusion. So if you have to go to the hospital because you lost a lot of blood, they will hook you up to some tubes and a bag of blood, and they will put some blood back into your body, and this is called a blood transfusion. Blood given in a transfusion has been donated from someone. So you'll sometimes see like those buses outside the New Bern Mall collecting blood, people donating blood. That is how we get those bags full of blood to help people who need blood when they've lost a lot in the hospital. Blood given in a transfusion has been donated from someone. In blood transfusions, the blood types must match each other. I could go on probably for 15 minutes talking about the importance of blood type matching, but just know that if you receive the wrong blood type, your body is going to violently react to that wrong blood type. And in a lot of cases, those people die. People who are blood type AB can receive A blood, B blood, because it's called AB. So it can receive A blood, it can receive B blood, and it can receive O. Everyone can receive O. O blood people like myself, however, can only receive O blood. People with type A blood can only receive A blood or O blood. You can't give them B blood, that will kill them. You can't give them AB blood because it has B in it. Yes, it has A, but it also has B. So A blood types can only receive A and O. B blood types can receive B and O. And AB blood types, they can receive A, B, AB, and O. So if you have AB, you're lucky. You're called the universal recipient. You can take blood from all 4 groups. All right, let's move on to the questions. All right, so these are the questions that go with both the circulatory system notes that we took and the All About Blood passage that we read. The directions say before completing these questions, you must complete the circulatory system notes, which we did, and read the All About Blood passage, which we did. The passage is, of course, attached to the assignment in the Google slideshow, which you should have up so you can refer back to it when answering questions about the passage. And of course, the read aloud is this video that you're listening to. Number 1, it tells us to refer to the notes we took to answer this question. In which type of blood vessel does gas exchange occur? And gas exchange means the cells picking up oxygen and releasing carbon dioxide. All right, and if we refer back to our notes, it tells us right here that smaller branches of tiny tubes pass on oxygen to the cells. And I also mentioned that at this same location, the cells give off their carbon dioxide waste. So we see our answer there. And I don't think that's where I want to be. Oh, I've got too many windows open. Here we go. So did we say that those were arteries, veins, capillaries, or the heart? Of course, we have to pick a blood vessel, and I can already tell you one of these guys is not a blood vessel, so we shouldn't be picking that at all. Number 2, refer to the All About Blood passage, so the Google slideshow, to answer this question. Which of the following fights germs, illnesses, and infections in our bodies? Well, let me just scroll through here and see if I can find that information about infections. Oh, infections, illnesses, and germs are fought by, these guys right here. So, white blood cells, hemoglobin, platelets, or red blood cells? Which of those fight germs, illnesses, and infections? Number 3, refer to the All About Blood passage, so the passage again. Which of the following gives blood a red color when mixed with oxygen? So this is really important that you go back to the passage because there's one that looks right. And that's not always the case, is it? Because we're saying according to the passage. Oh, red blood cells contain a protein called, that gives blood a red color when mixed with oxygen. So it's this guy right here that gives it the red color. And that's what the question's asking. Which gives blood the red color it has? So is it red blood cells, hemoglobin, platelets, or white blood cells? Number 4, refer to the All About Blood passage again. Which of the following are blood cells that clump together to help clot your blood? So let's see. I'm looking for blood clotting. Oh, here we go. Clotting. Clump together to help clot your blood. Who does that? Oh, these guys. These guys are blood cells that clump together to help clot your blood. So, is it red blood cells, white blood cells, hemoglobin, or platelets that clump together to clot our blood? Number 5, refer to the passage again. Which of the following occurs when someone loses a lot of blood and it must be replaced? Let me scan for that. Okay, if you lose a large amount of blood through a wound, more blood has to be put back in your body. This replacing of lost blood is called there it is. There's our answer. So when we replace blood that has been lost, is that blood transfusion, a bone marrow transplant, dialysis, or blood clotting? Number 6, refer to the All About Blood passage to answer this question. Choose the 4 different blood types people can have. Choose 4. Choose 4. Choose 4. We're picking 4. So let's go back to the passage. Oh, there are 4 main blood types. A, B, AB, and O. So are we picking O, A, double B, AB, B, Q, QR, QR code. So we're picking 4, and I just said them. Number 7, according to Ms. Brinson in this video, which of the 4 blood types can receive only A blood and O blood? So you may need to rewind the video to see which of the 4 blood types, either B, O, or A, can receive A and O blood. And if you're watching this video, you'll notice that I just gave you the answers to number 6 in this question. Always use an assignment or a test to help you, because sometimes a later question will help you answer an earlier question. Number 8, refer to the passage again to answer this question. How much blood does an adult body contain? I remember reading that very early. Oh, here we go. An adult body contains about 9 of these guys of blood. So is it 9 gallons, 9 ounces, 9 pints, or 9 feet? And one of those you should be able to eliminate out of common sense, because we don't measure liquid in feet. Ever. Number 9. According to Ms. Brinson in the Read Aloud video, why did I not turn the camera on? I said this right away at the very beginning. So why is my camera off? Is it because it's broken? My face is swollen? My face is dry? Or I forgot my camera in the school building? Before you submit this, make sure you are comfortable and confident with your answers, because you can only do this once. Make sure you click the submit button. I don't know why. Mine's not showing that. Maybe it will now. Yeah. Make sure you click the submit button by 11:59 tonight, and make sure you're confident before you hit submit, because there's only one opportunity to do this assignment. If you need any help with anything, have any questions, you can reach out to me. I'll be more than happy to help you. Make sure that you have your circulatory system notes we took in your notebook. Here they are. And like I said, if you need anything, you can reach out to me, and this is due by 11:59 tonight.